Sawadee Krap, and welcome to the first episode of 2021, the new year. Happy New Year. First episode for the Funky Pod and for MMA Monday. Back in your life, the OG MMA Monday. I just keep saying that. Back in your life, and yeah, we're here to discuss a few things. Also, there will be a few changes made on the podcast. Nothing terrible, just adding a bit more structure, I think. We'll be discussing a few more sports, not only MMA, but it's MMA Monday, so of course right now we're talking MMA, but a few more discussion points are coming in on the Funky Pod because, well, why not? And because there are some cool interviews lined up, so I thought that makes sense. But first of all, of course, let's discuss all things MMA. What's gonna happen? And the focus for right now is on the two events that are coming this week. We have on Friday one championship, Friday evening here Southeast Asian time. And then, of course, the UFC Fight Night with Chickadze versus Kattar in the main event. And we discussed this also. We also quickly, of course, talk about what's happening in the world of MMA. And the one thing that we all want to see but haven't seen yet. So let's start with this thing. Here's a plead to our all-favorite uncle, Chael Sonnen. Release the video. We want to know everything about the legendary 5-0 night. Tell us, Chael, tell us we can't take it anymore. Yeah, I mean, there are probably lawsuits, but whatever, like some things happening, then that's why he's not talking about it. But of course, very curious to hear the story down the road in a typical Chael manner, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to hearing that at some point. What else is happening? Well, current fights to be made, right? Speaking of the GOAT, I just watched a few Chael videos earlier, of course. And he's not a fan of Chimaev versus Burns. I'm at a point, I get where he's coming from, because like if you beat Burns, then you're in the title picture, right? And you want to see Chimaev like kill a few more guys to see whether or not he's actually worthy, so to speak. I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't care, just get him to fight. And either he gets demolished by Burns and be like, okay, he's not good enough yet, or he walks through him and then he just walks into a title picture. I didn't want to jump on the hype train in the beginning, but now it's been a while and we got to move forward somehow, right? In that division anyways. In an ideal world, yeah, Chimaev versus Belal. Sorry, I'll try next time. I'll keep practicing to remember the name. So Chimaev versus Belal, then maybe if he beats him, then slowly one more up, I don't know, until maybe he then, I don't know, yeah, Belal, then Burns maybe, Belal, Magny, Burns, but Belal took Stephen Thompson's place now, so then Magny's behind him, so I don't know, Chimaev versus Belal and then Chimaev versus Burns and then maybe title shot or something. Don't you dare to not give Leon Edwards his title shot. Seriously, UFC, do the right thing in this case. Okay, what else did we discuss, or should we be discussing? Well, all those matches that are to be made. I think there are lots of interesting things happening right now in the 155 division, for example. Of course, it has to be Justin Gaethje for the title, and then Makhachev is going to be super interesting versus Benil Dariush. To see then who emerges as the next contender there, of course. So this is very exciting. But I think we should just discuss all those things once they're actually happening. The one last thing I want to mention, of course, was that Jorge Masvidal went on social media, called out Colby Covington again and said, like, fourth time a jam, don't bitch out, basically. So let's hope that this is actually going to happen, because this is, of course, going to be a fun build-up. Okay, but now let's jump into the events, the previews. What's going to happen? What can we expect this coming weekend? And let's start with the UFC. So UFC Fight Night, Kattar versus Chickadze. And so there are two questions that I have. One, of course, has to be, how well did Calvin Kattar recover physically as well as mentally from the beating he took against Max, but it's been forever now. But like, how well did he recover? Is it still in his mind somewhere? Before the Max fight, he looked really good in his fights, right? So can he go back to that stage in his career where he was like the boxing machine? Is the question. And then the second question I have is in regards to Giga Chikadze, right? So I'm a Muay Thai guy, so I like stand-up fighting. Just stand up, right? That's my thing. But you all know he's gonna come with the kick to the liver. Like, everybody knows it. But it's probably then like you're over eager, and then it actually happens. You're like, no, and you're just waiting to block, and then after a few minutes you're like, okay, it didn't come yet. Maybe I'll try something, and then it comes. I guess that's the case. His Giga kick, right? I also thought there's a lot of hype first, but then when I saw how Cub Swanson folded, I'm like, okay, maybe. That's now a make or break thing. Make or break. Maybe that's too exaggerated, but it's like, if he beats Calvin Kattar, he's right in there, of course. If Kattar wins, he's right back in the mix as well. So that's a very interesting one. I mean, Chickadze comes in with like all the hype and the momentum, right? And momentum is a thing, I believe. Calvin Kattar, before the Max fight, you're like, oh man, he's the next in line for the title, and now we're all doubting him already. So that's also not fair, of course. I would lean, I guess, towards Giga Chikadze in this case, also just because I follow him on IG and not Calvin Kattar. But of course, you can't be surprised if Calvin Kattar takes it. But I would lean, I guess, because of momentum, towards Giga Chikadze here. But I'm hoping for a great fight here. I'm hoping Calvin Kattar doesn't just get like kicked and is out. But I hope he makes it a fight, and we can then really see who's the better fighter. In the co-main, we have Muslim Salikov, ranked number 15, I believe, versus Michel Pereira. No number to his name. I was surprised. Michel Pereira. Flippy stuff off the cage wall or something. Let's see what's going to happen. Last time around, he was a bit more composed. So good on him. Maybe he's more serious now. If he's composed, I'm picking Michel Pereira. Both of them have like double-digit losses, I believe, on the records already. So it's not like who's the next big thing here, but it's going to be a fun fight. And if Michel Pereira is on, he's on. So I'm thinking Michel Pereira is trying to go on a more serious run now, I hope. Then we have Kathleen Chookagian, ranked number 2 in the women's flyweight division, versus Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia ranked number 4, I believe. And Jennifer Maia, of course, coming off some really good performances. She had that great performance against Valentina, if you remember back then. So, yeah. The thing is, just while I'm talking, it's like, I mean, you can never count Kathleen Chookagian out, right? You never talk about her as like the next in line for the title, but she's always right there. And I don't mean to be offensive or anything. It's just like, you not talk about her like the mega superstar, right? But she's always right there. So I think it's going to be a tough fight, because Kathleen Chookagian, of course, has the basics down. And that's, again, not an insult. That's just like, she's really good fighting, and you need to have the basics down. And I mean, she's number 2 for a reason. I think Jennifer Maia, I don't know. Like, we thought she's going to be the next big thing, kind of, but then she wasn't. It's hard. I guess. I hope for a good fight, of course, and may the best woman win, obviously. If I would have to pick, maybe I would go with Kathleen Chookagian, just because she's just too well-rounded and like doesn't slip up much. So I think that's Jennifer Maia, don't hate me. We also have Brandon Royval versus Rogerio Bontorin. That should also be fun, because they're both, it's a flyweight, they're both always putting on good shows, actually. Hard for me to pick as well. I was about to pick Brandon Royval, just because I think I've seen more fights of his. But I remember DC calling Rogerio Bontorin's fight once, and he was like all excited. So yeah, hard to pick for me right now. I think it's going to be a close fight as well. It's good matchmaking on this card actually. So respect to the UFC. I'm going with Brandon Royval though. Okay, then we have Jake Collier versus Chase Sherman. Also both in like double-digit losses already. Chase Sherman always like he's gonna break through and then he stumbles. Yeah, I don't know. It's really draw. I don't know. I picked Chase Sherman just one too many times, I believe. So in this case, I'm gonna go with the prototype, Jake Collier. Also because I just realized that Chase Sherman's nickname is the Vanilla Gorilla, and that is just not cool. The one fight I want to talk about from the prelims is there's Colt McGee, which is always an interesting fight, but actually it's Brian Boom Boom Kattar is on the prelims. So why that? Versus Sadyakub Kakramonov. I hope I pronounced it somewhat correctly. Sorry. Brian Keller is always fun to see, so I just wanted to give a shout out to Brian Boom Boom Keller. That's going to be fun and a reason to tune in to the prelims, of course. So it's a fun card, especially for a fight night. That's a really, really good card, like really good matchmaking there by the UFC, I think. We will see some development there happening. Once this is over, we know like who's on a forward upward trajectory and who has to reset. So I appreciate it. That's going to be a fun card. So thank you, UFC. That's going to be a fun card to watch, look into, and follow up. So thank you for this. All right. Then we also, as I said, on Friday night, Friday evening here at Southeast Asian time, like 7 or 8 p.m. Bangkok time or 6 p.m. Singapore time, I believe it starts. We have one championship. They titled the event Heavy Hitters. So it's one Heavy Hitters. The main event is a Women's Strawweight World Championship fight between the champion from China, Xiong Xingnan, and the challenger, Ayaka Miura from Japan. I don't know that much about Ayaka Miura, to be quite honest. But I know a lot about, or not, I think I know as much as you can about the champion. But let's talk about the challenger first. So the research shows they call it the zombie. So, and yeah, the little bit of footage that I found to watch, right? She's got a title shot. Of course, she looked good. It's just really hard to judge the competition that she was fighting. So, Xiong Xingnan, she's been the champ for a while, of course. You probably know also the nickname, the Panda. She's fought with Angela Lee a few times and put it on her. So, yeah, it's very hard to not pick Xiong Xingnan to retain a title because she's just been pretty dominant, actually. Very crisp boxing, Xiong Xingnan, like very, very crisp boxing. I haven't seen any fight where any of her opponents like could hang with her when it comes to boxing. So it's going to be a tough night in the office for Ayaka Miura, the zombie. But she's called the zombie, so she probably can take a lot. So it's going to be interesting. But I can't pick against Xiong Xingnan, especially not if I don't really know that much about the opponent that the opponent was facing before. Co-main event is the light heavyweight kickboxing world championship. The champion Roman I never know how to pronounce him. Sorry, Roman Kruglia, I think, from the Ukraine versus Murat Aygun from the Netherlands / Turkey. Kruglia is just also like very crisp, like just like very like aggressive, straightforward. I watched highlights. A little bit of Aygun. It's hard to pick against Kruglia because he's just like really, I don't want to say it all the time, but like it's just the basics are like very crisp, like very fast. So it's hard to pick against them. My favorite fight on the card is the third fight on the main card. It's a bantamweight Muay Thai fight between like two of the they are superstars in Thailand, but two of the younger superstars from Thailand, Samapatch, like the handsome superstar versus Tawanchai, also like a young superstar. So Samapatch versus Tawanchai, that's gonna be a really good Muay Thai, a dark horse for fight of the night. Especially if you're into stand-up, if you're into Muay Thai, this is a fantastic fight. I have no clue who takes that. Like if Samapat is on, he's on. But just Tawanchai is just also really good, really fast, like great reaction. It's actually great matchmaking because Samapat is like really good at like moving forward, throwing stuff. Tawanchai is like really good at reacting, I think, to stuff, like adjusting. I have a hard time picking against Samapat just because I like his style, but like he struggles against like really smart fighters. He's really good against like those brawling type fighters, but I don't know, man. Samapat Tawanchai, that could be a fight in Lumpini Stadium here for a Muay Thai World Championship or something. This is fantastic. So I don't know. I'm picking Samapat. I'm probably wrong, but yeah, this is going to be a really good fight. I can't wait for that. We also have James Nakashima versus Saigit Isaka Kamaev. I picked against James Nakashima the last 2 times. I'm not going to do this again. James Nakashima totally got this. I'm sorry, James, for picking against it the last 2 times. I don't know much about Saigit, to be quite honest. I've seen James now in one championship, and yeah, so I was convinced. The last time I saw him was really convincing. So yeah. James Nakashima. Another fight I'm looking forward to is the strawweight Muay Thai fight between Supergirl, the little sister of Wonder Girl, obviously, and Ekaterina Vandrayeva. Supergirl, I don't know, she's 16 or something, 17, I'm not sure. Like, her big sister fights Muay Thai, and I think now does she also fight MMA already? Not Wonder Girl. Anyway, Supergirl, she went viral with a clip of hers where she was training knees. You might have seen it if you follow some MMA Muay Thai accounts on social media. Like, where she has like those spearing knees to the body, ridiculous. So yeah, look forward to that. Yeah, I mean, I'm in Thailand. I'm a Muay Thai person. Supergirl is like the Muay Thai Supergirl with those piercing knees. I can't pick against Supergirl or Wonder Girl, like any of those superheroes from the superhero family. So Supergirl got that. I'm quite sure. In the first match on the main card, it's Sensei Ikeda versus Jeremy Miado. Jeremy Miado from the Philippines, like also like a household name already here, won championship. Always like lead card or start of the main card. But maybe, no offense, a little bit at the end of the career, I think. So I'm guessing it's going to be a tough matchup with Sensei Ikeda. But I mean, veteran, so who knows? Maybe you can pull out some veteran stuff there. On the lead card, that's the prelims for one championship, the lead card. A very interesting flyweight Muay Thai fight. Oh, I never realized it was flyweight. Elias Mahmoudi versus Walter Gonçalves, Algeria versus Brazil, but actually they're both Thai because they both reside in Thailand. They're like very famous on the Muay Thai circuit here. They fight or they train out of like very famous gyms. That's going to be a great fight. Could go either way because they're both like super fast. Yeah, I like Gonçalves, but man, Mahmoud is really, he's smartened up over the last few years that I watch him fight. I'll pick Gonçalves just because I like his moves. But I mean, that also can go either. There's a really good Muay Thai card. Like really good Muay Thai fights on that card here. We also have a bit more of kickboxing between Beibola Disaev and Giannis Stoforidis. Stoforidis, also household name in kickboxing. If you follow kickboxing, you probably know Giannis. That should be fun. We have a middleweight fight, MMA, between Leandro Araides and Yushin Okami. I just saw this right now, to be honest. I didn't see that before. So then, did they just add it? I don't know. This is going to be fun. Like 2 old school veterans, but that should be fun. We have Shuya Kamikupo versus Troy Worthen. Should also be fun. I'm going through because this is the one I wanted to talk about. Strawweight women. Tiffany Teo from Singapore versus Meng Bo from China. And man, both of those girls, and don't cancel me, both of those women, they know how to scrap. Oh my God, they are so tough. If you just look at previous fights of either of those competitors, insanity. Like they went really deep down to the depth and like left it all out there. So Tiffany Teo Mengbo, that's going to be a great scrap. And I'm surprised that it's the second fight on the lead card. So, wow. So tune in early for one championship because this is going to be a fun scrap. I really don't know. Like the time bomb, Tiffany, Mengbo is so tough though. I mean, I like Tiffany Teo's style, but I picked Tiffany Teo, but it's going to be a tough scrap, so that's going to be fun. And the first fight on the lead card is another veteran from the Philippines, Robin Catalan, versus Ilipitua Siriga from Indonesia, who looks like quite young. It's a thing right now, feet like the old to the young. Robin Catalan, veteran, always able to pull things off, but it's like also more on the tail end of the career, I think, and just hasn't looked that great in his last few fights. I'm sorry, Robin. So I would assume they try to put over the young guy here, but never count the veteran out, of course. All right, so that's the card for one championship this Friday. Heavy hitters. That should be fun. Like, sometimes I'm a bit critical of one championship, as you know, if you follow this podcast for a bit. But yeah, so the matchmaking here, just like with the UFC before, maybe I'm just way more positive in 2022. Like, new year, new positive me. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it, I'm sure, because the fights are really good. All right, so that's enough for our first MMA Monday of the new year. Glad to be back. Expect more interviews, more details, more in-depth analysis, and so on. And until then, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.